here. This is level 1 Pilates today. So before we get going, let's go through some of the basics. So remember that if you're injured, you shouldn't be doing this. So that's just a complete no-no. If anything feels uncomfortable at any point, then we just stop. We take time out. We can either come out of the position, reduce our range of movement, or just stop. So, okay, it's up to you. Listen closely for alternatives and adjustments all the way through. I've just realised I may need to move the camera at one point, but we'll see how we go. So we're just going to start with getting our neutral spine position. So I'm going to turn on a side view. What we're going to do is we just want our feet hip distance apart. So remember, if you're not sure how to gauge hip distance, bring your feet together, turn your feet out like Mary Poppins, then heels out, and we've got hip distance. Again, we can use our thumb and our little finger as a gauge and just take it over our toes, and our little toes should sit just in between those 2 points. Shoulder blades back and down, sitting into our back pockets, and all we're going to do is begin to soften the knees a little bit and rock the pelvis. So we're rocking that pelvis back and forth, and remember, everybody's range of movement with this is quite different. So depending on, like, if you've got a posterior tilt, which is you tilt forward, which my pelvis does, or an anterior tilt where it tilts back, we're sort of seeing it's about control and how much you've got in the pelvic area. So just nice and steady. And what it's doing is allows us to lengthen out as well. Lengthen out the muscles. So just nice and steady. So just 4 more. Last 3. And 2. And last one, tuck under and hold in position. So it should feel slightly different to your normal posture, okay? Once you're in that position, I'm just changing place. I want you to take your hands onto your rib cage and just begin to breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. So we've got that lateral breath going on. So just getting used to that expansion and contraction of the rib cage. That is how we breathe when we're doing our Pilates. We breathe laterally. Last one. Let your hands relax by your side. Take your focus into your pelvic floor. So remember, the pelvic floor starts from the back of the bottom and comes all the way around to the front. So you can think of it as like a pelvic elevator. So when we contract at the back, that's how we're bringing ourselves to that first floor. When we come through to the second floor, in the middle pelvic floor, and then we lift all the way up to the third floor. And we want to stay on that third floor for the duration of this session, or the duration of everyday life if we can, but I think that's almost an impossible task. So we're coming up to that third floor and we're staying there. We then take our focus into our belly button. We begin to draw that belly button in towards the spine so you can feel tension, you can feel stability, but you can still breathe and move comfortably. So it should be around 25–30%. So shoulder blades are back and down. Now we've got that contraction. Let's have some beautiful chin tuck. So we're just going to squeeze the chin into the chest and then release. So squeeze in, release, squeeze in and release, squeeze in and release. So just 4 and 3 and 2, and last one, hold, and then release. Let's roll the shoulders. Let's lift them up to the ears, take them back and down. So we inhale up, exhale down, inhale up, exhale down, inhale up, exhale down, inhale. Last 2. Last one. And then we sassy walk. So we bend the knees, we peel the heels, and we let the arms swing as we gently swing the arms. And the hips and pelvis just gently shift side to side. And that's okay, because we're allowing that to happen and we want that to happen. So it's not about keeping everything in that neutral position right here. We've got that tail tucked under, we've got that pelvic floor and an abdominal belt, but the pelvis is just shifting as it does when we walk naturally. And then relax. Staying in that position, this time let's just do those shoulder rolls again, but take them in the opposite direction. So we're just going to lift them up from the back and then forward. So we pull the shoulder blades together, up and down. So inhaling, exhaling. Two more. And last one. Lateral glides. We just slide the hands down the thighs. Now remember, if we've got osteoporosis, we're going to be keeping this really small. Otherwise, we can go a little bit further, but we want to be making sure we're going equal distance on both sides. So equal distance on both sides. So just for 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Bring it back. Bring your hands across your chest, knees a little bit soft. Lift your elbows up if you can, and let's rotate. Again, remembering if we've got that osteoporosis, we are not going to worry about the hips moving. If we don't have that diagnosis, then we're just not going to encourage the hips to rotate. So there may be some movement, but we're not encouraging that movement, okay? So nice and steady, controlled. You can hear the rain outside coming down on the roof. I'm just in my loft space. Sounds very heavy. So let's have one more to the right, one more to the left. And bring it back. Bring your feet together and bring your hands to your hips. Let your fingers come across the hips, and those index fingers want to be meeting in the center. If one's slightly higher than the other, then we can bring the hands back and adjust the hips. But remember, if you know you've got that diagnosis of one hip higher, then you're not going to worry about that, because that adjustment's not going to happen. Just peeling the heel off the floor. This time we're coming into easy peelers. And remember, with easy peelers, we do want the hips to stay level. We do want the shoulders to stay level. We've got that neutral tuck, pelvic floor and abdominal belt contracted. So nice and steady. And can we go a little bit quicker? So can we pick up the pace just a little bit? And then relax, bring it down. Step back to hip distance apart. I'm just turning onto a side. We're going to go for our monkey squats. Remember, if we've got shoulder issues, just leave your hands by your side. Otherwise, we're going to come down and reach out in front. We want to imagine we've got a nice juicy peach under our chin, and we're holding it in place. So if you continue to look straight forward, then that peach would roll away. So your head and your eyes need to look slightly out in front. Take a peek and check you can see your toes. So just pushing out. If we can't see our toes, we need to push our bum further back. Nice and steady. And we're breathing in as we come down, and we're breathing out as we come up. So last 4. And last 3. Last 2. And last 1. And relax. I'm just turning to face you again. Bring the feet together and the hands on the hips again. Just checking that we're level. We're just going to lift one foot up. We're going to rotate the ankle in one direction, and then rotate in the opposite direction. Remember, you can do this on the floor, so you don't even have to take the foot off the floor. Bring it down. Other leg. Rotate in one direction, and then in the opposite direction. And then relax. We are going to start with tightrope, okay? So I'm moving on to my side. What I want you to do is take your right foot in front of your left foot. So both feet, I'm going to be cheeky and use the wall for a moment here because I'm still a bit dodgy on one of my feet because I broke my toe. So right foot in front of the left. Now, when we do this, if they're nice and tight together, then that's going to make your stability much harder. So you can have a little bit of space between the two. If that still feels like you're going to fall over, take your right foot slightly out to the side. So both feet are facing forward, but there's a little bit of space between and behind, okay? Otherwise, we've got them like so. Bring your hands to your hips. I'm just going to move away from the wall slightly. So hands to the hips, tailbone under, shoulders relaxed, a little bit of softness in the knee. We're going to take a deep breath in as we come forward, bending into this front knee. So you're going to feel the front thigh working. This back knee is almost as if someone's just tickling into the back. There's just a slight softness there, and then we come back. So we come forward and back. And we're breathing in and we're breathing out as we come back. So just nice and steady, with control, breathing in, breathing out. And remember, we could have a chair up the side of us at home if we wanted for our balance. If we wanted to make it harder, we could take the hands out to the side. Take them up. We could just keep them on our hips. So let's have two more. And on this final one, you're just going to steer forward for me. So you're going to come here and we're going to steer here. Holding it there. Breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. Just for 4, 3, 2, 1. Gently come back. We need to change over and do the other side. So just the left leg comes in front of the right. Again, we can have that slight space or out to the side. Just make sure that back foot isn't turned out. Now, if you have a natural rotation outwards in your ankles, your knees, so your feet do turn out slightly, that's okay. But if you haven't, then just be really conscious that those toes are pointing forward. So, tailbone under, core nice and strong, hands on the hips. Let's go forward and back. And remember that back knee, it's as if someone's just tickling in. The weight is going into the front. We're feeling that thigh working. And this is all about hip stability, okay? So nice and steady. Breathing in. Breathing out. Let's have two more, nice and steady. And last one, just holding it here for a few moments, holding it there. Just for 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Come back. Feet come back to hip distance apart. Remember, you've got your thumb, little finger, our little toes sitting between those 2 points. We can take a measurement. Monkey squats, shoulder issues, arms down, no issues, arms come up. Let's come down and really taking our time as we go through. So when we come down, we stay for a moment and then up. So it's inhale, exhale. Tailbones tucked under. Check you can see your toes as you come down. I'm regretting having my shower now before I did this session this morning. So nice and steady, controlled, breathing out as you come up. So last 4, last 3, Last two. And last one. And relax. Okay, staying where you are. I'm just turning to face you. Bring your feet together, hands on your hips. Take the index fingers across, check that the hips are level, and then draw them back. Shoulder blades back and down. All we're going to do is bring the right big toe in front. Now, that big toe could stay on the floor. I'm going to lift and bring it down. So it may just raise an inch off the floor. You may have a chair by the side of you that you're using for balance. We can come anywhere in between hip height and the floor as we bring it down. So nice and stable and strong, coming up and down. Making sure the roots, the foot on the other foot, the left foot, this is resting on the floor. Think of your toes and your heel as if they've got roots coming down into the ground. So you're stabilising yourself and burying yourself down. And be conscious you're not tipping back or tipping to the side like myself. So 4 more. And again, we're working on ankle and knee stability on the opposing side. We don't have to go high with that leg to challenge ourselves. Last 2. And on the last one, just take it up and just hold it there for a moment. And then gently bring it down. Bring your feet together and come into easy peelers. So just lifting the heel off the floor into the toes. Nice and steady. And then relax. This time, the opposite foot comes in front, big toes resting on the floor. Again, checking those hips are level, find your focus point, use something for support and balance if you need to. Push the tongue to the roof of the mouth, that can also help with your balance and stability. And let's lift and tap. Lift and tap. So lift and tap. Lift and tap. So we're inhaling, we're exhaling. Last 4. Last 2. Last one, just hold this last one for a few moments. Hold it there just for 4, 3, 2, don't try and do your hair like me, and 1, and relax. Take them hip distance apart and sassy walk it out. So that is that free move where the hips can shift and we're just letting everything move. And then relax. Okay, now we're going to do some exercises and I'm going to use the band. If you don't have the band at home, that's absolutely fine. You could use some canned produce, so like a tin of something, or 2 water bottles that weigh the same, or you may use dumbbells, or you don't have to use anything at all. In fact, for the first exercise, I will do it with nothing actually, because they're quite tricky. So we'll start with scapular retractions. Feet hip distance apart. I'm going to turn to a side view here. So my feet are hip distance apart. Remember, I've got my thumb and little finger gauged, so I can just check that those little toes sit in those 2 points. My tailbone's tucked under, and I've got that neutral spine position. I'm going to extend my arms out in front, and my arms are just shoulder width apart. I'm going to draw my shoulder blades together as if they're trying to kiss, and then I'm going to pull them apart. So as I draw them together, my arms are going to come back. As I pull them apart, they're going to slide forward. But I'm not moving my arms. That movement is solely coming from my shoulder blades, so the scapula. And I'm breathing in as I draw them back, and I'm breathing out as I release. So keep going. Not easy, this one. So together and release. Four more. This is all about scapular stability. And again. Last one. and relax. Bring them down, give them a shake, give your shoulders a little lift up, and now we're going to grab our band, our dumbbells, or we're going to do this without. So if you are using your band, we're starting with some just simple bicep curls. So we would have our feet hip distance apart. So I'm going to stand with my feet hip distance apart on my band. Remember, if you don't have a band and you're just using dumbbells or you're not using anything at all, you would still be hip distance apart. All we're going to do is curl up the band towards the chest. We've got to be conscious, I'm just changing viewpoints here. So we want to keep our neutral spine. We don't want the wrist to roll. So can you see there, my wrists are rolling. We want to keep that wrist and forearms in alignment. Elbows staying to the side, and it's just my forearm that's moving. So the only movement is coming from my elbow, which is acting as a hinge as it comes up, okay? So nice and steady, just 8 of these. Let's inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Keep an eye on those wrists. Last 4. Last 2. Last 1. And relax. Okay, very gently let go of the band, or bend your knees and pop your weights down or your cans down if you're using them. Just take one hand and just gently push the fingers back, okay? So the pressure's into the fingers and a little bit into the palm, and we're just pressing them back. Hold it there. And gently change over, opposite side, opposite side. And again, push, ooh. And push, ooh. And relax, shake it out. So we're going to use our band again now. So bend those knees as you pick it up, or your weights, she says, dropping it. This time, nice and steady, we're going to take the arms out in front. So just going to lift up and down. I'm just going to take it to a side view again. So this time, so working into the shoulders, tailbone tucked under that neutral spine. Remember, you've got that third floor, you're on the third floor pelvic floor elevator, okay? And what we want to do is, as we come up to shoulder height again, I'll show you how not to do it. So what we don't want is the wrist dropping down, okay? So if it feels like it's too much, with the band, for instance, then you would do it without, but we want those arms in nice straight lines. So let's just have 8. Keep going for me. Nice and steady. I'm assuming you're at 6 now. And maybe at 5, 4, and 3, and 2, and last 1. Bring it down, relax. Pop the band to the side or the weights to the side, bending those knees if you need to put anything down. And this time, you're going to take your hands behind you. So we're taking our hands behind, I'm just going to turn, so you're like so. So the hands are either side of the bum. And all we're going to do is, if we're trying to clap our hands together, okay, so this is working into the triceps, the back of the arms. I feel like I want to make a seal noise, like, that's a bit pathetic, wasn't it, really? So nice and steady, just working the back of the arms, the bingo wings. Just for 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Relax. We're going to come down to the floor now. So come to the end of the mat and have the length of the mat in front of you. Stand with your feet hip distance apart. Check that distance. Then we inhale up. Exhale, bend the knees, monkey squat position. We take a deep breath. And as exhale, walk your hands down, coming onto all fours. Now, as we come onto all fours, knees are beneath the hips and hands are beneath the shoulders. staying in that position, I'm just going to talk you through a few points. So we want a nice 90-degree angle from the hip to the knee. And we want the hands, the wrists, the elbows, the shoulders to be in alignment. But we want a little bit of softness in the elbow. So as if the elbow, the inside of the elbow is smiling at the other side. If we've got wrist problems, you could rest into your fist. Maybe you've got the little press-up handles you can hold on to. But you can rest into the fist. You just must make sure that the wrists and forearms are in alignment. And be conscious about the fact that when we talk about that table at the back, you're going to have a slight sloping table because you're higher up resting on the fist. The other thing you can do is get a hand towel, roll it up and rest your hands on there and make sure the front of the hand is a little bit higher than the wrist. So it's a bit more like that, and that's going to take some of the tension out. So holding that position, core's nice and strong. I'll just move a bit further along my mat. So push the tailbone towards the back of the room, draw the shoulder blades together. Eyes are looking down, they're not looking in front and they're not looking under. Lumbar tucks, we just took the tailbone under and then lift it up. Now as we tuck under and lift up, it is just the lumbar spine that is moving, so just the lower back. There may be some movement into the mid-back, the thoracic, but there shouldn't be much at all, if anything. So nice and steady. And this is just getting that synovial fluid, so that lubricant that goes all around our joints in the body, that is just getting that going. So nice and steady. Just for 4. And last 3. Last 2. And last 1. And then stabilize. So let us do, all we're going to do is take one leg out behind, tap and draw it in. As we do this, we want to keep that softness in the elbow, tailbone pushing to the back of the room. So you can keep your toes tucked under, knees coming back exactly where they left from. Pelvic floor's engaged, abdominal belt's engaged. We just tap and back, tap and back, tap and back. Just for 4 and 3 and 2. Last 1. Bring it up. Come back. Shoelaces to the floor, just into child's pose. Let the head reach down between the arms. Make sure the head's not dropping so there's no crease into the back of the neck. And gently let the arms extend out in front. But if that's uncomfortable on the shoulders, just let the forearms rest down on the floor. Remember, you can put cushions underneath the bum and the heels, or you could have the bum in the air and let the head reach forward and not have the bum so low. So go with what feels right for you. So just holding that stretch just for a few moments. Rotate your wrists in one direction and then rotate them in the opposite direction. So all the work where we're on all fours is tiring in the wrists. So we need to release that out a little bit. Take a deep breath. And as you exhale, come back onto all fours. Hands beneath the shoulders again, knees beneath the hips. This time, all you're going to do, so slight softness in the elbows, drawing the shoulder blades together, tailbone push out, tucked and pushing slightly behind. You're going to look over your right shoulder, and as you look over your right shoulder, your right bum cheek's going to tilt towards the right shoulder. Then you could come back to the centre. You're going to do the same on the left. So you look over and you tilt the bum towards the shoulder and back. So nice and steady. So just bringing some movement in there into the pelvis. We've got that pelvic floor on the 3rd floor. We've got that abdominal connection. Let's have one more to the right, one more to the left. Last one. come back, take your ball onto your heels and just rotate your wrists in one direction and then rotate in the opposite direction. So just nice and steady. Open them up. Take your hands into a fist, curl them in, thumbs on the outside, and then release. And then again, in and out. And as you do that, your wrists can roll as well as taking them into that fist, and then release. In and out. One more exercise on all fours, and then we're moving on to the floor. So, coming back into that all fours position, this time we're looking down towards the floor, so not in front, not underneath. Tailbone pushing to the back of the room, shoulder blades run together. We're just going to take the arm up and then bring it down. So take the arm up. We want to be keeping the shoulders level, so we're not doing the arm and leg, just one, because I want you to really focus on, excuse me, what's going on. So are the shoulders staying level? Nice and steady. So 3 more. That's 3 on each side. So last 2. Right, left, and right, left again. Keeping those shoulders level. Last 1. And then bringing it back. Take your knees as wide as your mat and big toes together. Now remember, if shell stretch is not comfortable for you, for your hips or knees, come back to that child's pose, or again have the bum in the air and let the arms extend out in front. We let the head come between the arms. If the head is flopping and there's a crease at the base of the cervical, the base of the neck, then we would put a cushion or a block or a hard back block just underneath and just hold. So just holding it there for a few moments. And again, let the forearms come down, just gently roll the wrists in one direction, then the other. And then very gently come down onto your front. So we're going to come down onto our front. So coming down onto the front, let the hands relax in front. Let the head just rest on the back of the hands. Or you could have a cushion there if you so wish. So all we're going to do is take our feet as wide as our mat and let our feet relax there. Hips are pressed in towards the floor. We're drawing that belly button in towards the spine. We've got that contraction in the pelvic floor. What you're going to do is you're going to squeeze your bum cheeks together and then let them relax. Now as you squeeze those bum cheeks together, the knees and the ankles are going to rotate in and then release. So squeeze in and release. So they're just having a little smooch, saying hello, and then releasing. So just 8 of those for me. Gluteal bracing, really good. Take a moment to be conscious of whether one glute, one bum cheek is working harder than the other bottom cheek. Nice and steady. 4 more. Last 3. Last 2. Last 1. And then relax. Hold it there. Hold it there. Just gently relax for a moment. So as we hold that position this time, keeping the hands where they are, we're just going to lift the head and the chest and then bring it down. So we just lift the head, the chest, looking down and back. And if we wanted to make this more challenging, we could take the hands to the side and lift the hands as well as lifting the head. And we're inhaling as we come up and we're exhaling as we come down. So inhale on the way up, exhale on the way down. So 4 more. last 3, last 2, and last 1, and relax. Let the head just turn to one side and let it just relax there for a moment. Breathe in deeply, that lateral breath, and then let the head rotate to the other side and relax there for a moment. Taking a deep breath, as you exhale, gently let the head come forward. We're going to roll onto our side now. And as we come onto the side, we're going to do that side leg series and some movements on the upper body. So you're going to want your block and your cushion, or your hard back book and cushion. And we're just going to take that on top. So, laying on our side, we're going to have our head resting on our block and cushion, and the arms extended, one arm, the lower arm, extended out in front. The other arm is just going to come on top. Now I know my hands are slightly out in the picture, so I'll just move myself a little bit further back. So holding that position, oh, they're still out, so but my hands are on top of one another. My knees want to be in front of my hips. So again, I've got that 90-degree angle, as if I'm basically, imagine you're sitting on a chair. So that's how you want your body. Your ankles should be below your toes. Ankles below your toes. Also, I just don't think my toaster's cut it this morning. My brain's not working properly. So your ankles want to be below your knees. That's where they want to be. Knees on top of one another. Hips are stacked, shoulders are stacked. All we're going to do is open up this top arm, and as we open it, the eyes can follow it. So the head can begin to turn, and it's following the thumb. Now obviously I've got the wall behind me, so that's going to restrict. Once I can no longer see my thumb, that is far enough. And then I'm bringing it back. And this is about thoracic, so we're bringing movement into the thoracic part of the spine, so that mid-spine. But what I want you to be conscious of is that as your head rotates, and you don't have to rotate the head, you can just do the arm, is that you don't begin to twist the neck. So that's the thing of like following the thumb or following the armpit. Following the armpit is better in the sense that you can't go as far. You definitely can't see as much. So there's less chance of you over twisting the neck, because we don't want that. We want a rotation, but not a twist. So you just got to be really careful that you don't go beyond. So let's just have 4 more, nice and steady. And you're breathing in as you're taking this up. And you're breathing out as you're bringing it back. So nice and steady. Let's have 2 more of these. And the last one. And then bring it back. And this time, so the hands are on top of one another again, as if you're pulling a bow and arrow, we let it slide along and then pulling it back. So as if you're pulling on that bow and arrow, the hands come directly on top of one another. The arm slides along. So keep going where you are. I'm just going to sit upright for a moment. So if I was doing this from a seated position, I would just be sliding that arm back and forth along the body. So nice and steady. So just 4 more of those for me. Last 2. And last one. And then just relax. Staying in that position, we're going to straighten out our arm, straighten out the legs now. So we've taken our legs into a nice straight line, and what we want is our hips to be stacked so I can feel myself rolling forward. So I want my hips stacked, my knees stacked, my ankles stacked. You can see how knobbly my knees are today because I'm wearing shorts. So we want that to be shoulders, hips, knees, ankles stacked. Imagine someone is trying to pull this top leg away. So it's almost like as if it's trying to become longer. What that does is give us that slight, very small hollowing out underneath. Now we could have our hand on our hip. That's going to help you feel if the hip's swaying forward or swaying back. But you should naturally feel that anyway. Or you could have your hand in front. And all we're going to do is lift that top leg. So flex the foot. If you've got no sciatica, lift it up and then bring it down. So the foot stays flexed and it comes up and down. Now if we've got sciatica, don't flex the foot. Just let the let the foot be as it is and just bring it up and down. If you feel you can do the flex, if your sciatica hasn't been active currently, you may be okay with the flex, but let's, just be cautious of what you're doing. So keeping that stability just for 8, and we'll go no higher than hip height, keeping the foot facing forward. And we're inhaling as we lift, exhaling as it comes down. So last 4 and 3 and 2, and we're just holding this last one up. Let's just hold that there for a moment, and let's make a circle forward for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Change direction for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring it down. Very gently bend it over the top. Give it a pat, give it a rub, whatever you may need to do. We're rolling onto our backs. So, for imprints, you're very welcome to keep your block or your cushion or just your cushion underneath your head. Remember, when we move into bridge, then we definitely need the cushion and block out of the way, unless we know we've got an overextension going on. So feet are hip distance apart, so just bring your knees together, your feet together, turn your feet out like Mary Poppins, heels turn out. We've got our hip distance apart. We want our feet as close to our bum as feels comfortable, but remember, if you do suffer with cramp in the hamstrings as we do this, then it's worth taking the feet a little bit further away. So we should have neutral spine. So there should be a little bit of hollowing underneath the back unless you've got a flat back, and you'll know if you've got a flat back. So we've got neutral spine, we're on the pelvic, on the third floor, we're drawing that belly button in towards the spine, shoulders relaxed. All we're going to do is tilt the tailbone up towards the ceiling. As we do that, that lower back's going to imprint into the mat. Then the mid back, and then the upper back. Then we release at the upper, the mid, the lower, and down. So very gently going back and forth. So just imprint in at the bottom, the mid, the upper, release in the upper, the mid, the lower. Nice and steady. Inhaling as you're imprinting and exhaling as you're releasing. This is just my favourite. I know I say it in every teaching session, but I just love imprints. Something very soothing and restorative about it, I find. So nice and steady, and even if you were sat on a chair, you can be doing this. So nice and steady. 2 more for me. So imprint the lower back, the mid back, the upper back. Release the upper, mid, lower. Last one. And then release. So we're going to stretch our hamstrings before we move on to our pelvic bridge. So if you've got a band or a strap, or I'll tell you what's good, if you haven't got, I should have mentioned it earlier really, but if you haven't got a band or a strap, tights are great. Tights are good because they've got the elasticity and the resistance. So we want to straighten that leg out as best as we can. And remember, if we haven't got a band or strap, we can just hold the leg. We could hold our leggings depending on the quality of your leg. I say the quality because if they're quite thin, you might not feel like you've got good grip, but if they're quite sturdy leggings, you might feel you can hold them. So the most important thing is that the leg is nice and straight. So we're getting that stretch into the hamstrings and we're just gently drawing that leg towards the chest and holding. So holding it there, taking a deep breath, drawing a little bit closer if we can. Using your breath. If you have no sciatica, you could flex the foot up towards the ceiling. You can straighten the opposing leg out. I prefer to keep it bent, it takes the pressure off the lower back, but it's really up to you. So just gently holding that leg there. And then we're going to bend it into the chest. We're just going to do exactly the same on the opposite side. So take it behind, straighten as best as you can. Flex the foot if you've got no sciatica, straighten the leg out if you wish, or keep the knee bent and hold it there. So remember, it's not about getting it as close to the upper body as possible, it is about stretching that hamstring. So it may mean it's further away, and that's absolutely fine. Hold it there. Ooh. I feel like I'm in a tent, I can just hear the rain gently tapping down on the window, and I've got the blind down and just the lights on in here, so it really does feel like I could be in a tent. So nice and steady, hold it there. Oh, a nice tent on a nice remote island, that would be nice right now, with a great stock of gin, mojito cocktails, chocolate, obviously other nice just peace and quiet. Take a deep breath. Exhale, gently bring it down. Obviously with a 4.5-year-old, peace and quiet in our house is unusual. So nice and steady. Taking the cushion and block out if you don't need them. Some people, if you've got that overextension, you may want that. So what we need to do is, once we've moved out of the place, we want to make sure that our eyes are looking straight up to the ceiling. If your eyes are looking behind, then you need to nod the chin. If your eyes are looking in front, then you need to lift the chin. So just hold it in position. Hands by the side of the bottom. Taking a nice deep breath in through the nose. As you exhale, begin to imprint the lower back. As you imprint the lower back, begin to lift up. And we're coming up into that nice diagonal line. So the knees, the hips, the shoulders in that diagonal line. Remember, we can place our hands onto the ribs. Make sure the ribs are not splaying up. And then very gently we'll bring the upper body, the mid body, the lower body down. So gently coming up, nice and steady. Taking the time. Controlled. Breathing in as you're bringing it up, breathing out as you're bringing it down. Last two. And the last one. And then bringing it down. In that neutral spine position, just bring your hands to your tummy. This time we're going to draw the belly button down towards the spine. So you've already got that 25% pull, stability in the core. Now I want you to go way beyond that. So you're going to draw it down as if we've got a high scream scoop and we're hollowing out the tummy. Draw it down, draw it down, draw it down, draw it down, draw it down. And then bring it up. Draw it down, draw it down, draw it down, draw it down. Bring it back up to that 25-30%. So we're never coming back to 100% like relaxation of the core. Pull. And ensuring that that pelvic floor is staying engaged the whole time. And then bringing it back up. And scooping and hollowing, scooping and hollowing. And bringing it back up. 2 more. Scoop and hollow and scoop and hollow. And gently bringing it back up. Scoop and hollow, scoop and hollow. And bringing it back up. The last 2. Last 1. And very gently, what I want you to do is roll onto your opposite side. So just roll onto your opposite side. I'm just changing directions on my mat so I can keep looking at the camera. So rolling onto the opposite side, block and cushion, and laying on our side. To begin with, we want our legs at that 90 degrees. So knees in line with the hips, ankles below the knees. If we're sitting on a chair, arms extended out in front, we're looking forward, shoulders stacked, hips stacked, knees stacked, ankles stacked. We inhale, we lift. And again, I've got a wall behind me, so I'm not going to go particularly far. Head rotates, look to the front, and then bringing it down. Nice and steady. And again, if you was doing this in a chair, you just have those arms extended in front and you just let that rotation. The head rotates, but we shouldn't be twisting, remember. Following the thumb, following the armpit. Armpit's going to give you less chance of going into a twist with the neck. And we don't even have to move the head. We could just be bringing the movement of the arm back and forth. And that's going to be bringing movement into the scapula, into the thoracic part of the spine. We could just have the head looking forward, but again, making sure you don't go too far. So just nice and steady. Last 2, in my hands, banging against the wall. Exhaling as you bring it down. Last 1. And then bring it back. Nice and steady. Letting the top hand rest on the floor, rest on the hip. We're going to straighten these legs out. So take those legs nice and straight. Feet on top of one another. And again, you want to imagine as if someone's trying to pull this top leg away. So as if they're trying to pull this away. So you've got a little bit of hollowing. Be conscious you're not leaning forward. We want to have the hips stacked, the shoulders stacked. Hands on the floor to the side. You may want to put them along the side, whatever feels right. If we've got no sciatica issue, flex that top foot. If you've got a sciatica issue, just leave the foot as it is. But we're just lifting to hip height and bringing it down. So lifting and down, lifting and down, just nice and steady. Inhale, exhale, inhale and exhale. So just nice and steady, control, just for 8. And you've got that pelvic floor engaged, you've got that 25-30% contraction going on in the tummy. Last 3. Last 2. And last one, hold it. Let's go forward for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Change direction for 8, 7, 6. That's awful. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring it down. Bend. Oh, that was horrible. Give it a pat. Check it's still with you. And then very gently, we're going to roll over onto our front again. So just pop in your cushion and block away if they're there. This time, I want you to have your forearms resting on the floor. So just hold in this position. If this feels too much for the lower back, then bring your hands in front and just let your head rotate to one side. Otherwise, we're just here. We're looking slightly out in front. So we're not looking forward, we're just looking slightly out in front. Just take some nice deep breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. Shoulder blades back and down. Now gently bring the one arm down, let the head rest on it, gently bend the leg, and we can either take a hold of our strap, or maybe we can reach the leggings or the socks and just hold it there. So just getting that stretch into the front of the thigh, which is our quadricep, hips facing forward, hold it there for me. Breathing deeply, breathing calmly, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Gently change over, let the opposite leg come up. Do the same again. Oh, take a hold of the strap, the sock, the leggings. You may have a circle you're using, you may be using your band to help assist. Just feeling that stretch into the front of the thighs. My quadriceps are very tight today. Hold it there. I'm not enjoying this stretch at all. Take a deep breath. Exhale, let it release. Now roll onto your side. As you roll onto your side, bend your knees, one hand across the chest. You're going to gently push up to a comfortable seated position. So just sitting comfortably for a moment, take your hands together, drop your chin to your chest. Just pull your shoulder blades away from one another and hold it there for a moment. So the eyes are just looking down to the floor. And then take it up, nice and high, shoulder blades back and down. And then take them behind. And as you take them behind, just let your hands come together if you can, and let your elbows close together. Holding it there. And very gently shake it out. Shake it out. Come onto all fours. Hands beneath the shoulders, knees beneath the hips. Elbows slightly soft, tailbone to the back of the room, shoulders joined together. Looking down, not looking in front, not looking under. Let us just do 4 lumbar tucks. So we just took the tailbone under and back. Under and back. Under and back. Last one. Stabilise, tuck your toes under and walk it back. Gently coming up onto all fours. We're going to just let our arms sway side to side. So just increase our heart rate a little bit. And then let the arms hang at the side. Gently take your right foot forward and left foot behind. Now remember, if this is not the right way for you to come up and you want to come up a different way, then that's absolutely fine, okay? So just make your own way up in a fashion that feels right and comfortable for you. So toes are tucked under, our hands by the side, that pelvic floor's engaged, abdominals are nice and strong. We've got the weaker leg out in front because we want to strengthen this area. And we inhale, lifting up, exhale down. And we have our feet hip distance apart. Use your gauge if you need it. The little toe should sit in those 2 points, and let's just swing the arms out. So swing into a sassy walk. Sassy walk. And relax. Roll your shoulders. Ooh. Roll them forward. Ooh. I don't know why I'm making all these oohs. And relax. Be Mr. Soft for a moment. Shake it all out. Strengthen. Tuck under. Pelvic floor engaged. Abdominal belt. Juicy peach. Stay there and you will have perfect posture. You may start to wake a little bit after a certain period of time. Well done everyone. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope to see you soon. Take care.